Just in the automobile like the one yesterday. I mean, after the store was robbed by them two men.
Where'd you see it, Bert?
Down at the edge of town, parked by Davidson's garage. Well, I think it's the same car.
I'll look into it.
Can I go with the sheriff?
You better go on with your papers, sir.
The year was 1931, the place West Plains, Missouri. It was a time when stark depression faced the nation, with bread lines and apple vendors in the city, when the migrant homeless on the move across the land spoke more clearly than financial graphs of the plight of the people. It was a time which would spawn a new type of criminal, men not only reckless and insensitive to the harm caused others, but men who would capture the public eye and be placed upon pedestals by some. This is the story of one such man, told as it happened. It is not told in judgment, for such judgment has long been made. It begins here, on an early fall morning in a small Midwest town.
Well, they're back. Now can we eat?
Maynard, you gotta learn to get along with them boys better.
Well, it makes no sense. Them going back to the same town to get the car fixed.
They're back, ain't they? Stop fretting.
Take the back roads, figure on maybe 6 hours.
Yeah, I'll leave it to you, Mom. Whatever you agree on, St. Paul, whatever, it's okay with me.
Yeah, Ma's got good connections to St. Paul. Right, Ma?
Got the best, you name the town.
Who's going to St. Paul?
I don't care if it's St. Paul, but we're going.
Well, that's a good idea. You boys will have some nightlife up that way.
We're all going. That means you too.
Huh? What?
Yeah, that's long-nosed sheriff over in West Plains. Had to bust him one.
What? What?
Maynard. That makes 4 at once. Now get on with it, will you?
Did anybody see you do it?
Well, hard to say, but we better scoot.
You kill a lawman and come to my cottage?
Nobody's deaf in here, old man.
Well, Alvin, I was planning on spending Christmas here, even have a tree all picked out.
You'll still have your tree. We're staying. You're the ones they're after. You can just hightail it out of here.
We are going with the boys. Now, I'm going to get us packed.
Well, I'm staying. I'll just say I don't know you boys. Of course, it isn't my cottage, but I spent $400 fixing her up. I'd be the loser if I was to leave. You got to figure that, Alvin. I'd be the loser.
Figured that since we first met, Maynard. Your company, Maynard, just ain't all that thrilling that we'd miss it, but you get very chatty at the wrong times.
Well, just smell the cork and everybody's your friend.
I wouldn't talk about you boys.
We can just put a match to this place and burn it down and stop you worrying about squatters moving in and taking your investment.
Kind of kerosene out back, Alvin.
Kate? Kate?
Old creepy. That's what Maynard calls you. Ma told me.
Creepy him someday.
It's your eyes, Alvin. Scares the hell out of him. He told Ma it was just like looking into a grave.
His name was Francis Alvin Karpis, wanted for murder. This in itself did not make him distinctive. Murder had never been a unique crime. But Alvin Karpis was to epitomize an era, that of the freewheeling and ruthless Midwest bank robber desperado. He was to open that era and close it 4.5 years later. A span of time during which a series of murders, kidnappings, bank robberies, and a train holdup were to be credited to his gang. This was to be the first rung on the ladder for Karpis, fleeing with Kate Barker, also known as Ma Barker, her companion Maynard Richards, and her son Fred. Karpis was on his way to becoming public enemy number one. It was to be a long but steady climb. 7 years earlier, another young man was rising to prominence. His name was J. Edgar Hoover. At the age of 29, accepting the position of acting director of what later was to be known as the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Immediate and sweeping changes were instituted in the Bureau. Under the direction of its new chief, it was completely divorced from politics. Special agents appointed on merit alone, promotions to be based upon proven ability. A rigorous training program was soon to be launched in which special agents became skilled in the use of all types of firearms. These were the early formative years of building a crime-fighting organization. Modern methods of investigative work replaced the seat-of-the-pants approach, which had been deemed adequate in the past. Agents were required to have a working knowledge of the science of fingerprints and taught the value of microscopic evidence. It was the beginning of an investigative force which was to turn the tide of gangsterism in the 1930s. It would later become a world-renowned organization, but here was its birth. In those early years, the Bureau had little over 300 special agents, with the majority devoting their efforts to investigating federal violations far removed from the gangsterism which began terrorizing the nation. Only a handful of agents were assigned to investigating and reporting on this new era being ushered in.
It must be remembered that our agents lack powers of arrest. It's not a federal crime to rob a bank. It's not even a federal crime to kill one of our agents. So yes, in a sense, we do stand by, but not idly, I can assure you. I hope that answers your questions.
Mr. Hoover, don't you think your language was a little strong last night in your speech at the Rotary Club? Calling people mindless animals, vultures, underworld scum, public rats? They are human beings.
You're referring to my references to the marauding bank robber gangs in the Midwest? Human beings? Well, not to me. They are the lowest of vermin. Robbery is understandable if inexcusable, but wanton murder is the act of mad dogs.
Speaking of name-calling, would you care to make any comment on those names directed toward you, such as a vain, moralistic martinet who spends his time at racetracks rooting home winning horses while demanding rigid discipline from his own men?
Yes, I read that article. I detest inaccuracy. I don't root home winning horses. They invariably lose.
Thank you, Mr. Hoover.
Thank you, sir. Very good.
We've got complete information now on the shooting of Sheriff Kelly in Missouri. Fred Barker has been positively identified as one of the two men who gunned him down. The other man is new to the Barker gang. His name is Alvin Karpis.
What do we know about Mr. Karpis?
Full name, Francis Alvin Karpovitz.
born August 10th, 1908. At age 17, convicted of burglary, sentenced to 10 years at the State Industrial Reformatory in Hutchinson, Kansas. Escaped March 9th, 1929, later arrested for auto theft and safe blowing. Released from Kansas State Prison May of last year.
Strange eyes. Almost hypnotic. We'll see if we can spare a few more men to the Midwest field offices.
Yes, sir.
Vain, moralistic martinet. Well, hopefully that's rather exaggerated.
Vastly so, sir.
Straight from Charles at the Ritz.
Looks yummy. What?
Well, what?
What? Don't tell me I'm too young again.
Tell you again or not, you still are.
What counts is the way we feel about each other, Alvin.
What counts is that you go back to school until you learn to stop saying ain't.
I bet it's Kate. Martin be the only woman around you boys.
We're going over that again.
Well, it's true. She's jealous of any woman.
You forget that little thing about me being married?
But you never see her, and you ain't never gonna see her again.
There's another reason why not. Because of the business I'm in.
I told you before, it doesn't bother me what you're doing. Can I ask you something?
Shoot.
You love me?
Nope.
You like me? I love you, Alvin Karpis.
How many times I gotta tell you I don't like that sticky business? Look, I gotta meet Fred.
Settle for liking me?
You think it over a couple of months. You still feel the same way? Okay.
Alvin! Gotta be them.
Back here is the vault. I ain't never seen anybody go in or out, except maybe the manager. I don't know if he scares easy. Alvin, you ain't listening much.
Alvin's all moony at her walking in the park with Shirley.
Oh, she ain't nothing but a baby. You ought to have more than 2 pennies worth of common sense.
Makes no sense you being with her.
Hello.
That matter, none of you boys. Women got no place in this business.
You sure?
Maynard, why is it every time you open that loose mouth I get twitches?
Maybe you don't like it. Seems to me you, Johnny-come-lately, could hightail it out of here. You just ain't needed that bad. Ain't needed that bad.
We gotta get moving. That was a friend of mine on the phone. We've been tipped.
You say who tipped, Ma?
He don't know.
Why are you looking at me?
Every morning, in that speakeasy at the corner, what'd you talk about?
Nothing. I don't say nothing.
Yeah. You've been bragging again about knowing more Barker.
I don't talk like that no more.
Maynard.
Kate?
You drinking, Maynard, is an awful worry. I'm gonna let the boys talk to you about it. I'm gonna get us packed now.
Wasn't me, Alvin.
Being a Johnny-come-lately, maybe I just don't know you that well, Maynard.
I swear it wasn't me.
Something to talk over on the way.
Shot 3 times at close range. Body stripped to prevent identification. Smell of Richard's all right. I'll bet on the prints matching. Blood-stained lady's glove was found over there. Barker leaving souvenirs behind now? Must have been one wild party around here last night.
Robbery of the Fort Scott Bank in Kansas by the Karpis Barker gang on June 17, 1932, was one of Karpis' first bank robberies. The ease with which the bank could be looted intrigued Karpis. He saw this new occupation as a fertile field. He saw local police as the only opposition, a fast car and state lines as sanctuary. He gave little thought to special agents working quietly to gather intelligence on his growing gang. The date was July 7th, 1932, a date seeming of little importance. But special agents had been looking for 2 convicts who had escaped from the federal penitentiary at Leavenworth. In making the capture, agents would discover a bond in their possession, one stolen from the Fort Scott Bank. In determining they worked with Alvin Karpis on the Fort Scott Bank robbery, the Bureau now had authority to investigate Karpis for harboring federal fugitives. The Bureau's attention now focused fully on Karpis. In effect, it was round 1.
Just 3 minutes.
I hate to be the one breaking the news to Mr. Hoover.
By a strange coincidence, that's exactly what you'll be doing. Touch of laryngitis.
But within 3 weeks, more bad news was to be relayed to Mr. Hoover. First, the bank robbery at Concordia, Kansas, which netted the Karpis gang almost $250,000 in cash and securities. Then on December 16, 1932, in Minneapolis, Minnesota, the name of Alvin Karpis was to explode in the newspaper headlines across the country.
All right, Pop.
All right, down on the floor. Out of the pen. Don't anybody move now. Here. All right, let's get the phone. You just call the doctor when we leave. Now, come on. Just keep that head down there. Shotgun. Remember that? All right, now, get it open.
No, now, dear. Nobody's being hurt.
Just stay calm, lady. Just stay calm.
Alvin!
It was a senseless slaughter. 3 innocent people murdered following the robbery of the 3rd Northwestern Bank of Minneapolis.
I don't know if our budget will approve it, but try it out on Jennings. Make sure he understands that additional field officers are top priority.
Yes, sir.
Forward a detailed report as soon as
Anything further?
We got a positive ID on Doc Barker now being with the gang.
What about Alvin Karpis?
Also identified as the man giving orders in the bank. Seems he ran the show.
So Mr. Karpis is the king of the roost now. Let's work up a complete profile on Alvin Karpis. I want to know what that man eats for breakfast, the kind of clothes he likes, if he's interested in the sports, the kind of women he runs around with. Check with the prisons he's been in and people there he's talked to. Find out if he has any medical problems. Go back to the day that man was born. Now, from this point on, I want every piece of information regarding Alvin Karpis and his gang crossing my desk. No matter how small that information, I want it brought to my attention.
I've never seen a boss so worked up before.
If I knew this was going to be such a fancy place, I would have bought a new dress.
You're fancier than any of them.
And don't you look grand? That stick pin a real pearl?
You'd faint if I told you how much it cost.
I won't, I promise.
200 smackers.
What?
You know how long it takes an oyster to make a real pearl?
Years, I bet.
Right.
They sit on the bottom of the ocean and spend their whole life making one little pearl.
Alvin, I know it ain't my business. But the killings... it's just been on my mind lately.
I ever lied to you?
No?
I never killed nobody. Never expect to. Okay?
Okay.
Stop reading those newspapers. Nothing but bad news in them anyway.
Want to know something? Name a bridge.
Riddles?
Come on, name a bridge.
Brooklyn Bridge.
I jump off it for you. I guess girls just feel differently about those things than their fellas, huh?
We've been stupid. Banks. Plain stupid. Kate looks them over good for us, but the minute you walk in the door, you're guessing. How much money there? You don't know. Who's gonna walk in on you? You don't know that either.
I don't mind if you quit, Alvin. I truly don't.
Quit? You don't quit. You outsmart them.
The only one's dancing.
Show him a fancy leg.
You're so happy all of a sudden.
I'll give you a riddle. How do you get money from a bank without robbing it?
Don't give up. How do you get money from a bank without robbing it?
Oh, Mr. Ham. What are you doing? Just a cop.
On June 15, 1933, William Ham, Jr. of the Ham Brewing Company was kidnapped. A $100,000 ransom was asked for his release and eventually paid. For a brief time, the gang returned to a familiar activity, robbery in bold daylight at the Livestock Market Center in South St. Paul, Minnesota. Robbery with a bizarre innovation.
Hands up high, keep them up! Keep them!
Once again, Alvin Karpis was to find robbery becoming a messy affair. One police officer killed outright, another seriously wounded. From this senseless carnage, the Karpis gang decided to return to a seemingly safer crime: kidnapping. Their victim was Edward George Bremer, member of one of the wealthiest and most prominent families in St. Paul. His abduction stunned the nation.
Well, I don't understand it. Criticism of law enforcement, but not one word against the people who are paroling murders and thieves to reinforce that gang. How do you justify giving a convicted murderer a 2-year leave of absence from prison? A man who immediately joins up with Karpis. I don't understand that.
Sir, the Bremer family just received a ransom demand, $200,000. All in small denominations, 5s, 10s, no consecutive numbers.
We'll do nothing that might interfere with Bremer's safe release, but I want the serial number of all banknotes recorded and circulated here and abroad.
Yes, sir.
For 3 weeks, Edward Bremer was held prisoner, during which time complex negotiations were carried on for his safe return. Finally, the payment of the ransom was made, and Bremer was released unharmed. Within 8 months, the Karpis gang had collected $300,000 in ransoms. Their ability to appear and disappear without a trace was the talk of the nation.
He's riding on incredible luck. His ego must be matching his arrogance with all the publicity he's getting.
It's surprising how few well-known people are recognized in person. Unless you're constantly seeing their pictures in print, they become another face in the crowd. Well, I'll bet I've been to the fights many a time without more than half a dozen people recognizing me.
Oh, I doubt that very much, sir.
My point being, I wonder how Mr. Karpis would feel if his face became as well recognized as his name.
Might put a little crick in his neck from looking over his shoulder.
I want you to send his picture to every newspaper in this country. To Canada, Mexico, and South America. Every time that gang of his makes a move, get out fresh pictures on him. I don't want to pick up a morning newspaper without a picture of Alvin Karpis staring me in the face. We'll assist Mr. Karpis into becoming a well-recognized celebrity. We'll fill his cup till it overflows.
Yes, sir.
One month later, in the Chicago offices of Dr. Simon R. Willards, an underworld practitioner who catered to criminals.
Dear God! Did you get your license from the stockyard?
Morphine doesn't always work for some people.
I'm going to tell you something. If these prints aren't changed, I'm going to come looking for you. I'm going to give you the same treat with a meat grinder.
Not keeping your mind off it, Freddie.
Alvin.
Well, it would appear that Mr. Hoover is taking a personal interest in you.
I may take an interest in him someday.
That would be an ambitious undertaking. Yeah. I'm ready for the acid now, if you are.
Why'd you kill him now, Alvin? Why you can still use his hand.
It'll only take a few seconds.
What's the J? J stand for?
J? Oh. John. John Edgar Hoover.
John Edgar Hoover.
I'll see him someday.
He won't be an easy man to get to. I'll do that again a little later. How far you want to go, Alvin?
Enough to get me by. Move around.
We'll start with the eyes. See if we can do something in that slant there.
The operations were unsuccessful. Dr. Willards was to later disappear under mysterious circumstances. The recording of the serial numbers of the Bremer ransom money, despite their small size, proved an invaluable aid to agents. Within 10 weeks began a series of arrests involving underworld characters who had been commissioned to pass the money.
Well, say you ever split up with old lover boy, let me know.
You hear that? Stop taking me for granted.
Get respectable. Hey, picked up Brown and McCarthy in Chicago, Alvin. Yep. You know, that makes 4 this month. The feds picked up passing that money. You know, Ma figures we ought to split up for a while. In fact, we're heading to Florida, her and me.
Tell Kate I won't sell any more of that money in these parts. Me and Shirley head to Chicago and try to stay with Doc a while.
Yeah, well, Ma and me will probably stay at a place on Lake Weir. Anyway, you get on that way. Look me up, Alvin. We'll do some gator hunting. Remember, I'll be waiting in the wings, baby.
My heart goes pit-a-pat. What's this about Chicago?
I'm thinking of joining up with Doc Barker there.
Alvin, I gotta give you my opinion about the way we live. I think we should get out of the country. You're still putting your picture in the paper every day and somebody's bound to see you. All that went for nothing. Didn't change your face at all.
Yeah, maybe we'll head for Cuba for a while. Yeah, make it Cuba. On a couple of fishing boats there for a while, make a good... J. Edgar Hoover.
I don't think that Mr. Hoover should be calling you names like that in the paper.
All out the suitcase.
In the spring of 1934, a series of crime bills signed by President Roosevelt enabled agents to move on broad fronts against the roving gangs. Among the major underworld figures, the reigns of John Dillinger, Babyface Nelson, and Pretty Boy Floyd came to violent ends. Still at large were Ma Barker and her 2 sons, Fred and Doc, and Alvin Karpis, who was living with Shirley at Veradero Beach, Cuba.
Hello? Yeah, operator. See.
Hey, Doc. How's everything in the Windy City? Well, everything's slow here, but it couldn't be smoother. Yeah, I got an old friend of mine buying Cuban gold with that cash and converting it to fresh dollars. Yeah. Oh, no more than a couple of weeks at the most. Listen, why don't you rent us a place around the first of the month? Yeah, a couple of days either way. Yeah. I'll call before we head up there. Okay, Doc. You too. See you soon.
María, aquí está la comida.
Frank, I just talked to Doc Barker in Chicago.
How is he?
Fine. Champagne. Are we celebrating something?
Can never tell when the occasion might come up.
6,200 even. That's only 80% net this time, but still within reason.
No complaints from me?
I got feelers out for the last 10,000 asking 85%. Well, we'll see.
Should have been with us from the beginning, Frank.
You keep me in mind down here. I'll give you anybody you recommend a fast shake.
I'll do that. Shirley, didn't she come back with you?
Well, she's been held up with the doctors. Be taking a taxi back later.
Oh, blabbermouth. You had to do it, didn't you?
What's going on?
Where's your brains? She wanted to tell you herself, but so you don't worry. She'll kill you when she gets here. You're going to be a pauper early next year, Alvin.
Congratulations, Pop. Could toast the occasion right now with one bottle and hold the other one for Shirley.
Kind of news really starts you thinking, doesn't it? She was afraid how you might feel about it. It's okay, isn't it, Alvin?
Okay. Yeah. I hope we have twins.
Oh.
Hey, old lady. Maybe it's time we did some thinking along these lines before you slide downhill any further.
Look who's talking. Downhill. They know you're in Cuba?
No, it's Mr. Hoover talking about me in some speech.
You think he's doing it deliberately, keeping your picture circulating?
Maybe he's got nothing else to do.
Harry?
How about a toast to my son?
Or to your daughter. It happened, you know.
Not a chance. I'm thinking positive. How much traveling is Shirley going to be allowed to do?
I don't know. But the weather in Chicago this time of year isn't the greatest.
Alex and Vicky are settled in Miami. Maybe we'll stick with them.
I think I'll find the housekeeper. See about lunch.
Hey, Alvin. The way they keep your picture floating around in the States, why not head south, maybe Brazil? Live down there, let a few years pass. Some people I know will see that you fit in.
No. To tell you the truth, Frank, I get homesick away from the States. Then again, there's my kid. I want him born on American soil. I want to make sure he's an American citizen. Maybe the only thing I'll ever be able to give him.
The decision not to go to Chicago to join Doc Barker was a fortunate one for Alvin Karpis. Special agents from the Bureau's Chicago field office had been keeping Doc Barker and another gang member under surveillance for some time. They had delayed moving in and apprehending these outlaws in the hopes that Alvin Karpis might also prove to be in the vicinity. The capture of Doc Barker was accomplished without gunplay. As he ruefully admitted to the agents, it was one hell of a time to leave his gun at home. Another member of the Karpis gang chose to fight it out. In addition to a large quantity of weapons and ammunition discovered in the apartment, federal agents found a Florida road map. Encircled in pencil was an area known as Lake Weir.
Freddie, you all stop that shooting, you hear? I got Alvin on the telephone, fresh back from Cuba, and I can't hear a thing. Where are Alex and Vicky?
Alex and Vicky are here with us now. Freddie's trying to bag a gator with a chopper.
Oh, he's just plain nuts. You can tell him that from me.
Oh, tell Alex hello for me. Listen, when's Shirley expecting?
Oh, creepy a daddy. I can't figure that.
Shame on your mouth.
Listen, you tell that pointy-head son of yours I'm feeding him to an alligator if there's any left there.
I guess you heard about them catching my boy Doc.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear it. Look, we're coming up there for a visit tomorrow. Can we bring anything?
Just your own sweet selves. Maybe Freddie can bag a wild turkey for the table. See y'all later.
Oh, I better clean this up again, Ma.
Hey, Barker, Fred, this is a federal officer speaking. Come on out, Kate. You and Fred with your hands up.
We interrupt this program to bring you a news bulletin. In a gun battle earlier today at Lake Weir, Ma Barker and her son Fred Barker were shot to death by G-men. Although details are sketchy at this moment, it is definitely established the infamous head of the Barker clan died with a machine gun in her hands, defying federal agents to the very end. Stay tuned to this station for further word. Now back to the Twilight Melody Hour.
Alvin! Alvin, we could have been there. I mean, we were going there. We would have been...
Street to here?
But we could have been with them when they caught Doc. We were going to Chicago.
We could have been, but we weren't. Yeah, understand?
Did you hear on the radio?
Yeah, we heard. Get her dressed, will you? I got connections in Atlantic City. Women better go by train. We'll take a car.
It must have been Freddie shooting up the swamps brought the G-men in.
Whatever. We gotta move fast. Get the car gassed.
We again interrupt to repeat our special news bulletin. Kate Barker and her son Fred were slain in a gun battle today by G-men at Lake Weir. Kate, or Ma as she was better known, was one of the most wanted criminals in the country. We have word that the G-men expected to also gather in Alvin Karpis at the lake. But the elusive Karpis was not there. Karpis now holding the undisputed and undistinguished title of Public Enemy #1. In our opinion, J. Edgar Hoover has put this title in more succinct words when he uses the term Public Rat #1.
Within hours of the raid on the Lake Weir cottage, Miami agents had located Karpis' hideout.
I'd say no question. It's him. Same eyes. You always noticed his eyes. Caught your attention.
Garage across the avenue, service the car, tune up the tires, Florida plates D5306.
Put a broadcast right out, armed and dangerous.
Must say, for a bank robber, he sure was polite. Always a good morning. And a little smile.
Did he or the other couple have any other visitors?
No. Didn't seem to be much socializing here. I feel sorry for the young lady with him. In the family way and forced to be on the move all the time.
Family way?
If I'm a judge, be a matter of weeks.
4 days later, riding by night along back roads, hiding out by day, Karpis and Alex Denton arrived in Atlantic City. It was to be another bizarre and torturous turn in the life and career of Alvin Karpis.
Is everything all right?
Yeah, everything's fine. Hey, take it easy. You get back over to bed before you catch cold.
I just couldn't sleep. I started dreaming about you and Alex and that long drive and...
Oh, you worry too much. Yeah, Alex is in with Vicky now. Well, okay. How about,
I can feel him kick sometimes.
make sure you take good care of Junior. I'm gonna need a fishing partner.
I will. You know, Alvin, I sure hope that we can stay here until I have it. You know, traveling's getting hard on me and getting sick in the mornings.
Yeah, women got it tough. I remember a family lived over us in St. Louis. 12 kids in 10 years. You figure.
You know, I wouldn't mind. Maybe 5 or 6. But I wouldn't mind.
We have 6 kids. I'll be big-hearted. One can be a girl.
Oh.
Hey, come on now, I gotta breathe.
I'm just so happy to see you.
Yeah. I'm tired. I gotta get some sleep.
What time is it?
It's almost 7. I was with Alex and Vicky. They think that we should take a cottage along the coast.
I settled out with Alex last night. We're going to Canada.
Hey, put some clothes on.
Nobody out there.
What room are you from, pal? Over there. You officers hear about that partying going on last night? They finally quieted down. Over here. Harmless.
I think you're in for a convention or something. You fellas go buzzing in with guns. You scare the daylights out of them. Let me tell them you're here.
Hey, are you a little hard of hearing, man?
They're probably still sleeping it off. Stay on top of them cops!
Alvin, I've been shot. I can't walk.
Take her out the fire escape down an alley. We'll meet you on the corner about a couple blocks south.
Okay. Come on, baby. All right? Go back and walk.
Come on, let's go down the stairs.
Let me go first. Okay. All right. I've got you. Vicky, I don't want to lose the baby.
Don't worry. Don't worry. Wait, let me get rid of this stupid coat. Okay.
Check these out. Anything? No. Here's something. Leave it running. Get out.
Shirley, let me take a look. Oh. Now, baby, that doesn't look too bad, but I don't think you should be walking on it.
Vicky, you go on without me. I'm just going to hold everybody up.
Shirley, honey, I think we ought to give ourselves up. The boys will be better off without us anyway. Are you ready for that?
Okay.
You ready? Okay.
They had time to get here.
They might have been picked up.
Behind us. Take them out.
Hey, take it easy, fellas. My friend's expecting.
And the car they commandeered in Atlantic City was abandoned in Pennsylvania, near the state line. Here they kidnapped a doctor, forced him to drive them to Guilford Center, Ohio. They then abandoned the doctor, leaving him tied and gagged. His car has been found near LaSalle, Michigan.
The women they left behind in Atlantic City, from all indications, will be charged with harboring and misprision of a felony.
Mm-hmm. The change in his personality.
Karpis?
Seems as reckless as ever.
Reckless hardly describes it. Maybe he's beginning to think he's invincible. It's a frightening thought, isn't it?
From Karpis.
I don't know where he found the time to write to me.
Threatens to kill all the special agents in charge of Los Angeles, Chicago, New York, then come to Washington and kill you.
I think we have more bark than bite here, but alert all the field officers.
Yes, sir.
One more thing. First word we have of Karpis' whereabouts, let me know. Whether day or night, I want to be informed. I'd like to make this arrest myself. The director of this bureau has a few prerogatives.
Yes, sir. So, Karpis is to be the boss's man.
Should be an interesting meeting. I'd like to be there.
Oh, my.
Isn't he a doll?
He's a spitting image of his dad.
Have you decided on a name yet?
Well, I've been too busy, but I'll be thinking about it now.
Well, I'll write down boy for now, and later you...
Karpovitz. It's not that hard to spell. Karpis. A.V.I.C.Z. Yes, little me.
March 1935. The Durham Club in Eldridge Heights, Ohio, was an underworld hangout where anything could be bought, including shelter for the lawless fugitives. It became a haven for Alvin Karpis following his flight from Atlantic City. Although the Karpis gang no longer existed as such, most of its original members dead or apprehended, Karpis was basking in the glory of being the most hunted outlaw in the country.
Anderson will be here in a few minutes. Sure got him waiting in line. I wouldn't mind the leavings. Heard the latest news on Shirley? 5-year rap.
What about my kid?
Your folks have him. Nothing to worry about there.
Is this the man?
Yeah.
My pleasure, Mr. Karpis.
Alvin will do.
Alex, fill you in.
Waiting for you.
It's a mail truck, 3-man job. We have the routes and the stops.
Alex here tells me you think with all your marbles. That suits me just fine. We hit? Now what? Back here?
Can you think of a better place?
You and Alex, not me. You can come and go, see some sunshine. You know, somebody's got to be buying my clothes, even have to have a barber sent in.
Price of being famous, Alvin.
A couple of people have told me you got a town locked up, bought and paid for over the years.
That's right. I thought you were a big city boy.
No more. I want a place where I can kick pebbles, get some fishing in.
Well, there's fishing, all right.
We'll head there straight after the job.
The robbery of the mail truck in Warren, Ohio on April 24th of that year was carried out with the swift boldness that had come to stamp the Karpis-led robberies. As in the past, fortune did more than smile on Alvin Karpis. His decision to move to a rural community broke a pattern. Investigators continuing to search the cities, clues to his whereabouts leading to dead ends. Karpis, it came to appear, was the original will-o'-the-wisp. In June of 1935, he was introduced into the underworld of a southwestern town which would become notorious in its tolerance of criminals, thieves, murderers, and fugitives. Kernville, Arkansas.
Started, 5 weeks back, you might say.
How's your free time? Dinner, a little dancing at the Lake Pavilion tonight.
Well, I can't tonight, but some other time, huh?
Got your drink, honey. And the boys are waiting.
Thanks. It's nice meeting you, Bernice.
Your cowboy is waking up with a hangover. Go see what you can do for him.
Sure.
Best you. Alvin opened for 10. I bumped at 5.
And 50. Got a serious farm boy here, fellas. You're not gonna let my measly pair chase you out, are you, Alvin?
Who's she?
It's Colette. She runs the place.
But hands off. Private property.
Name's Sheldon. He wears a shiny tin badge.
Chief of detectives. touchy about what's his. And I mean he's touchy.
I'd say that makes Colette worth knowing.
Now, you tell that old boy that you're my sergeant and that you're talking for me. You ask that old crackhead, does he think I've got the time to personally convey my sincere wishes? He's got the time to get that do-re-mi in here on time.
I guess he didn't like the way you broke up his bookie operation last month.
Sergeant, you got to educate the man. That's all part of his overhead. And you tell him he's hearing pure gospel.
Haven't we seen him around?
You have, but I haven't.
A high-class layout.
I'm glad you approve. Welcome to our town.
Why?
Why welcome? Why, Mr. Karpis, sir, the sincere visit of your very own presence to this here region just naturally overwhelms yours truly. You didn't appreciate that.
Brings us around to the why again.
Why are you here? In my room? Because you're an interesting man. Because you're a dangerous man. I don't meet very many dangerous men. Though they all try very hard at it, but somehow I always get the feeling that they'd start crying like little boys if they ever skinned their knees. I can't picture you ever crying.
How long you been in this business?
Is that very important to you?
No.
Yes would have been a mistake. You don't make many mistakes, do you? Three pennies for your thoughts. Now that should flatter you. The going rate is only 1.
I have things on my mind. Hard to explain. It's a moving around, I guess. No, not that. Maybe I'm just sick of people. Sick of proving I'm better than they are, like you. That phony Southern Belle act. No, I didn't think it was funny. What the hell are you trying to prove? That you can relax and I can't? You're one up? The whole damn world, top dog, underdog.
That much you should have learned on your mother's knee.
I'm tired of dishonest people. Laugh at that. I'm a thief. Did you hear me telling anybody different?
Mr. Karpis, let's start over. Welcome to our town.
You can clout me one if you want.
I'd have to know you better.
Well, that's something we should be working on. The knowing better.
I do declare. We do leave doors unlocked, but we expect people to knock.
So you're the man?
Don't think that's ever been questioned.
Make me a drink, Colette.
He won't be here that long. Say it and it's out of the way.
You know who I am?
Well, if you ain't the chief detective of this town, you're a ringer for the descriptions I've been getting. Among said descriptions, hands so dirty you can't afford to wash them.
Now, what's smart talk behind you?
Lays it out. Now, you know me like I know you.
Just come by with a word. Visitors to my town keep their noses clean. They behave themselves.
Nothing fairer than that. I'm around for the next election, Chief. You get my vote.
In fact, you or your partners raise dust anywhere in the state. I ain't gonna look upon it too kindly.
Now, that's sure one thing this here boy don't want is you looking on him unkindly. So we're one mind on keeping the dust settled. Being it's all said, I guess me and the lady can get back to our private conversation.
Summer and into the fall of 1935, Alvin Karpis lived quietly at a lake cottage. Still the object of a nationwide manhunt, many believed he was either dead or had successfully fled the country.
Earl, you coming?
Yeah, in a minute. Well, what else can I say? Making trips for Alvin keeps me busy, that's all.
Don't hand me that. In 3 years, I know you too well. Now, I want an answer. I guess I got my answer.
You got it.
What happened? You doze off out there?
I had some trouble with the motor. Sorry to keep you waiting.
No problem. Alvin, Jimmy West.
Hey.
Frank Smith.
How'd the fish treat you out there? Yeah, I lost track of the ones that got away. Well, I'm an old hand at cleaning them. Good. Try this. That's what I should have used out there. Well, I figure 10,000 off the top for expenses. From there on, even split.
10,000's a healthy bite.
I laid out half that already. Some others I had to take care of.
suppose that bank just isn't that loaded.
Who said anything about a bank?
A railroad station?
We're getting a railroad train.
Now, who the hell robs a train in this day and age?
I do. You know.
Carries a mail car?
Erie line between Detroit and Pittsburgh. Payroll, securities between banks. Word I get is $250,000 up.
Well, it's for sure they'd never expect us to rob a train.
A U.S. mail train. Your friend, Mr. Hoover, is going to have some more nasty things to say about you.
The futile hunt for Karpis brought pressures from well-meaning but now skeptical sources.
I also want to bring to the attention of this Senate Appropriations Committee the increasing workload on our special agents. Under our present budget, unassigned cases are mounting.
Mr. Hoover, I'm sorry to interrupt you, sir, but I wonder if you'd satisfy my curiosity. Where did you learn your business? From the department itself?
Yes, sir. I was a special assistant to the Attorney General for about 8 years, handling prosecutions. I was appointed director of the Bureau in 1924.
You never attended any school yourself?
I took degrees of LLB and LLM from George Washington University.
Oh, no. I'm talking about crime school. Have you ever attended any such school?
No, sir. The training program at the Bureau was not initiated until 1928. As director of the Bureau, I initiated that program.
So, whatever you know about it, you learn right there in the department.
I learned firsthand. Yes, sir.
Have you ever made an arrest?
No, sir. I have made investigations.
I'm talking about arrests. How many have you made, and who were they?
I've handled investigations. I've handled prosecutions while I was a special assistant to the Attorney General.
I am still talking about actual arrests.
No, sir. I have never personally arrested anyone.
Thank you.
The director of the Bureau did not take that opportunity to reveal he had already decided to personally make the arrest of Alvin Karpis. November 7th, 1935, Garrettsville, Ohio.
All right, come on down out of there. Right over there. Come on. Get over there. Back. Right there. Hands up! Next time we aim lower, you got 2 seconds. We're coming out!
Robbery of the Erie Railroad mail train would fall short of Karpis' expectations. $34,000 in cash and a few thousand in securities. But along with the Wild West tactics used in the holdup of a train, Karpis introduced the fast getaway in the use of a plane. Newspapers throughout the country and in many parts of the world headlined his name. Underworld sources quoted Karpis as stating he'd never be taken alive. Since J. Edgar Hoover had already made the decision to personally make the arrest of Karpis, the public saw it as a personal duel between the two men. And the public waited for this confrontation.
Hey, expected you earlier.
I've been busy this morning
Huh?
with our chief of detectives. Been busy listening. Seems that the G-men have picked up on your yen for fishing. They're hitting all the lakes up north. He expects them to drift into the county.
Is he playing straight with you, or did he finally figure out a way to get me on the run?
Well, he's the soul of honesty, you know that.
Huh. Well, don't like to see it end.
I don't either, Alvin.
Another time, another place, maybe.
Drop the maybe.
You any good packing shirts?
Mr. Karpis, sir, a homebody like me. Well, you know I just naturally excel in the company of a man.
Well, certainly is a quiet morning.
I think it's ready to liven up. Some fellas out there trying to make up their minds.
Oh.
Colette?
Yes.
We're agents of the Federal Bureau of Investigation.
Well, if there's anyone in particular you're looking for, perhaps I can help you.
In particular, Alvin Karpis.
I don't know him. Well, feel free to browse.
Well, browsing around without a guide might be a little problem. Knocking on doors upstairs with Mr. Karpis possibly behind one's not exactly good procedure. Then just to go busting in the rooms, it might be a little embarrassing.
You do have a problem, don't you? G-men must lead interesting lives.
Miss Colette, you know Karpis is a fugitive, and harboring is a federal offense.
Well, I don't believe I know any fugitives.
You're saying you didn't rent the lake cottage for Karpis?
Oh, I rented a cottage for Dr. Robert Samuels, if that's whom you mean.
No, Mr. Karpis graduating to deep-sea fishing.
You mean that gentleman isn't Dr. Robert Samuels of Boston?
Even gentleman is debatable.
Oh, that just does prove, doesn't it? You can't trust anyone these days.
No, never saw him before.
How about this one?
Look, I told you, I only work here.
This one?
I don't look at faces. A guy's a guy.
You've seen him before?
No, never did.
If you help us, it might be worth your while. Think about it.
Pretty firm relationship?
Agents say they saw each other constantly.
Well, Karpis would hardly return to Kernville, but if they were as close as you say, then there might be future contact between them. This Colette could turn out to be our key. Use as many men as you need. Let's comb all the Gulf ports catering to sport fishermen. If Mr. Karpis felt secure enough to go deep-sea fishing once, he may do so again.
I can't possibly leave before then, Alvin. How are Earl and Bernice getting along? That's funny. I miss you, too. Listen, when I get down there, we'll all do up the town. We'll paint Bourbon Street red.
Give me the Federal Bureau of Investigation in Little Rock.
In the early spring of 1936, special agents began a quiet search of the New Orleans area. Soon a lead was developed. Karpis was identified as a man who had purchased a car under the name of Edward O'Hara. J. Edgar Hoover promptly flew south with an additional force of special agents. The date was May 1st, 1936. The apartment house was located where the man calling himself Edward O'Hara was staying. Special agents set up a surveillance on the building and maintained strategic positions while they determined which apartment Karpis was in and the identities of those with him. A methodical evacuation of other apartments within the building was then carried out. Every avenue of escape was blocked, every precaution taken that here, at long last, Alvin Karpis could be brought to bay.
Miss Flora, wouldn't you feel more comfortable staying in the rear of the house?
You all mean safer? You ought to say it. You boys want to use my house? I'm not missing what goes on.
Well, we certainly appreciate your letting us in here, but in the event of trouble, we can't...
Young man, let me tell you something. It's the things I didn't see and the things I didn't do that I regret. Not the troubles I got into. Because, well, my troubles were mostly pleasurable, looking back now.
Business. We're not going fishing. Back about 6. Tell her, Alvin.
Why don't you take yourself off to a movie, Bernice? Little Caesars at the Metro with Eddie Robinson.
Yeah, well, I saw it, and I'm up to here with movies. And I'm not cooking again tonight. You're taking me out to dinner.
All right. Will you just quit nagging me?
Shrimp House? See that fellow Louis Armstrong?
God, now just shut up.
Okay. Gotta get my hair done.
Something wrong?
Cities are getting too crowded.
Like they say, that's a sign of progress.
Third floor front apartment. There's a man and a woman with him.
We think the man is Earl Anderson and one of the girls from Kernow.
Did anybody see Karpis yet?
Now, both men have been in the apartment since this morning, the girl too. But the manager thinks it's Karpis, he's sure.
Have you cleared the building?
Yes, sir, we're doing that right now. We'll stop traffic when you give the word.
We won't have time.
Passed right by this window, he did. Oh, General Lee himself.
They want 800 for passports alone.
Well, if we gotta pay it, we gotta pay it. We need to make a move.
Before they stop the car, squeeze them against the curb.
I'd cut Bernice loose. Your business, but she's getting to be a real screecher.
Yeah.
Move the bag, kid.
I hurt myself.
Let's start down. Wait until the boy's out of the way.
Kid, now move that bag.
Hold your horses, will ya?
Well, I don't blame the kid for being mad. The first bike I got, I limped some farmer's kid and he wrecked the doggone thing.
Alvin Karpis, you are under arrest. You'll never make it. Both hands on the wheel. Very slow. Coming on a busy day? In the car, Alvin.
Of Alvin Karpis, the era of the marauding bank robbers came to an end. There would be a total of 32 convictions before the files were closed on the Karpis case. 8 of those involved in the kidnappings and bank robberies received life terms. 3 other gang members were killed resisting arrest. On July 27, 1936, Alvin Karpis pleaded guilty to the kidnapping of William Ham, Jr., and he was sentenced to life imprisonment. He was 28 years old. He would not be given his freedom until some 32 years later. For J. Edgar Hoover, his career, in a sense, was just beginning.